Property management is a people business, and people aren't in your inbox, they're on site. Likewise, the name property management signals something physical. It is a management of a real life, tangible asset. And so dialing in site presence is critical to the property management professional. The problem with this, and I fear you're going to fall into this hearing it, is that you'll assume thinking about site presence is easy. But in reality, I've seen many people and companies struggle to find the right balance. They drop what they're doing to drive to a property to meet a contractor, and they waste 3 hours. Or in the words of a client our team took on from another company, our manager has been assigned to our portfolio for over a year and hasn't been to site yet. So unless you have it easy and you are stationed in the building you actually manage, site presence, in my observation, is a tough thing for people to get right. The great dichotomy, care versus productivity. Here's the tension that nobody really honestly talks about. Going to site is simultaneously the most important thing you can do and one of the biggest productivity killers in your week. Both of these things are true at the same time. And learning to hold that tension and to artfully find the balance between them is one of the quiet skills that separates a good manager from a great one. And so let me break it down. On one side is care, which is showing up to a property, walking the site, looking a tenant in the eyes, shaking a contractor's hand. It's the single most powerful signal that you give a damn. You can't replicate it over email. You can't fake it on a phone call. Physical presence communicates something that no other medium can. Physical presence communicates something that no other medium can. On the other side is productivity. Driving to and from a property takes time. Talking to people in person takes time. And unlike an email you can answer at 7 a.m., a site visit happens when it happens. And if you let site visits run your calendar completely unchecked, you'll be constantly in motion and perpetually behind. So what's the right amount of time on site? The honest answer is kind of dumb, but it's however much is necessary. I know that's unsatisfying, but it's the truth because every property is different, every client is different, and both change over time. A new build with a new tenant mix needs more of you than a stabilized industrial park you've managed for 6 years. What I can give you is the framework for understanding why you go and what you do when you get there. Because once you understand that, you'll be able to calibrate the frequency yourself. The truth is that great property managers are on site more than good or okay ones. And it's your job to figure out how to make this happen while still staying on top of your work. That's direct but true. Let's break this down a bit further. There are 3 functions of a site visit. You spend a ton of time getting up from your desk, prepping keys or backup material, getting into your car, driving to site, and then the same amount of dead time on the way back. And so it's incumbent on us to make the most of our time there. Every time you walk a property, you're doing one of 3 things, which is inspecting, policing, or observing. Sometimes all 3 in the same visit. Now, although the skills within these categories take years to develop, understanding these categorical differences will help you spot deficiencies in your own procedures and develop these skills faster. So listen. So you might know these words, but listen to what they mean. So number 1 is inspect. Here you're checking on work that's being done. Did the contractor actually fix the leak, or did they slap a Band-Aid on it? Is the landscaping being maintained to the standard we're paying for? Is the progress on the TI on schedule? This is the accountability function, and it's one most managers underdo because it feels redundant. You already issued the work order, you already sent the email, you might have seen pictures, but visiting and seeing with your own eyes, it's completely different. That estimate that you approved, now the work's done. This is the time you can make sure it was done as quoted. An experienced manager has this kind of sixth sense of things that have transpired over the last 12 months of varying degrees of urgency that they go to site and they inspect. Inexperienced managers or ones that don't care show up on site, don't know why they're there, and leave. Number 2, the second hat you wear is the police hat. You're making sure tenants or customers aren't doing things they shouldn't. This is storing product in the fire exit, parking in a way that blocks other tenants, making modifications to their unit without authorization. Tenants don't always act maliciously, but they act in their own interests. And left completely unchecked, small violations slowly compound. The policing function is about maintaining standards, quietly and consistently, and without drama if possible. The third hat you're going to wear is the observation hat. This is underrated. Even the words observe sounds benign. You're not inspecting a specific work order. You're not following up on a specific complaint. You're just observing. This means walking slowly and noticing things. That downspout that's pulling away from the fascia, the parking lot crack that's getting wider and wider, the loading bay door that's not quite closing flush. None of these are emergencies, but many become emergencies if nobody catches them over time. The best property managers I know are chronically paranoid. They don't walk a property and feel reassured by what they see. They walk a property looking for what's wrong, and they find it early, cheaply, and before it becomes a landlord problem. Now, switching subjects here quickly, we're going to talk about site meetings. There are mainly 3 types of people you're going to meet on site. Each one warrants a slightly different approach. Number 1 is contractors. We meet contractors defensively and as needed. You didn't drive 45 minutes to chat. You're there to inspect work, ask the right questions, and make sure what was scoped was actually what got done. Keep it professional, keep it efficient, and review the invoice before you leave if you can. Remember, contractors will ask to meet on site a lot. Much of the time, you should be saying no or keeping it tight, or when it suits you when you're there the next week. Anyways, protect your time. The second one is tenants. This one requires a little more nuance. The goal of a tenant site meeting is to understand their perspective. A tenant who feels heard is a tenant who renews and is happy. A tenant who feels ignored is a problem waiting to happen. And so if you think of a property having its own culture, annoyed and ignored tenants can be cancer. And that sometimes results in third-party property managers getting fired. But, and this is important, be wary of their time. Tenants are running businesses too. Dropping by unannounced for a 40-minute chat during their lunch rush is not a relationship builder. That's an imposition. Read the room, keep it to the moment. 2 things to avoid specifically. Don't collect rent checks on site. That is forbidden. Don't do it. I laugh because we've all been there. This is what banking is for. The moment you start collecting checks in person, you've created a process that doesn't scale and a dynamic that gets awkward fast. The last thing I'll say with tenants, this is a big one, is absolutely no gifts. It doesn't matter that it's Christmas, and no gifts to tenants other than those approved by a landlord. It creates inequity and it creates expectation. It also blurs the professional line. I've sat and had lunch in a tenant's space and they offered us free dessert. We say no. Doesn't matter how much you love what they're offering, it's no. The third thing is clients. It's worth being generous with our time to meet clients on site. Any client time is typically high ROI time. And as we get to forge a deeper relationship with them while solving problems on site, you may have heard me talk about the 10-minute sandwich before in a past video. This is exactly where it applies. Arrive 10 minutes early, walk the property, inspect, police, observe, come prepared. Know your numbers, know your facts, bring a notebook, and use it. Then leave 10 minutes after the meeting. Don't bolt the second the meeting ends. Stay 10 minutes. Inspect, police, observe again. Lastly, here are a few frameworks worth noting that I've developed over time when it comes to site visits. These are as important as they are random. There are 3 phrases worth knowing, not because the terms are used, they're not, they're made up, but behind each is a mindset worth adopting. So one of them is the property management special. This is driving by a property you manage, but you don't have a ton of time, is you just whip through there in 30 seconds. The funny thing is, you're driving through anyways. Maybe you don't get out of your car and you simply cruise through quickly, scanning for ongoing items only you would notice. This is what you do if you own the property. It's a habit worth adopting. And the difference here is that most people just go to site and they go, oh, I'm going to go to that site. Whereas someone with an ownership mindset is going to that site, but knows these 3 are on the way and they swing by them on the way sometimes. That's okay. We don't need to do a full 45-minute exhaustive review every time. Doing a little whip through a property every once in a while, that's the property management special. Another phrase that I say is lunch on site. This is a simple concept. Instead of driving back to the office and eating at your desk, eat on site from time to time. You'd be surprised how much you notice when you're just sitting in a parking lot eating. Tenants walk by, you catch things you would never have noticed from the office. These are small things that are not big enough to be problems that would have jumped into your inbox, but are problems nonetheless. I can't tell you how many times I've been to a site and I've just hung out for a bit and had lunch and I noticed something funny that I wouldn't have otherwise. The key here is that buildings are these living, breathing organisms that you really don't know what's going on until you actually spend some time there. And now the best for last is WTF IT, which is kids hold your ears, what the f is that? These 5 words should be in your head on every single site visit. If you see something and you don't know what it is or whether it should look that way, that's your cue. You ask, you photograph it, you look it up. Don't walk past it because it's awkward to admit you don't know. Not knowing and finding out is how you build the facilities knowledge that makes you dangerous. I have learnt this mindset by walking properties with many, many clients and seeing that through an owner's eye, they often have this mindset. What the hell is that? What the hell is that? What the hell is that? And I've walked the site with many property management professionals that look like they're in the mall and they're casually glancing around and very, very okay with not understanding what that is, not noticing what that is. It's a completely different mindset. You got to turn it on. What the f is that? Site presence isn't glamorous. Nobody's writing think pieces about the property manager who caught a failing downspout. Nobody's writing think pieces about the property manager who caught a failing downspout on a Tuesday afternoon walk. But that's the work. We show up, we look carefully, talk to people like they matter, because they do, and then go back to our desk and deal with the 47 emails that arrived while we were gone. That's the job. The best property manager I ever met had a habit I couldn't explain at first. She never left a site right after a meeting. She'd stay 10 minutes, walk around, look at things, talk to a tenant, and then leave. No agenda, no work order, just looking. Turns out that's the job.